back to my channel. Akiko here. Today we're here to discuss something different, something new. We're going to be talking about a dating show called Ramyun and Chill. The show has actually been released 2 weeks ago, and so far there's episode 1 and episode 2. So this show basically focuses on 5 international girls trying to find love amongst 5 Korean men, and I'm gonna read the description just because I'm not really good at explaining it. Can love transcend language and cultural barriers? Introducing Ramyun and Chill, a dating reality show between 5 women from around the world and 5 men from South Korea, spending 4 romantic nights on a lakeside getaway in an effort to find love. So this is basically what they describe it as, and it's under the YouTube channel DKDKTV. So if you're someone who's been into, I don't know, K-dramas or Korean music, you would have been at some point most likely seen one of their videos talking about different issues, and sometimes they cover news and stuff like that. Sometimes they will kind of like mini summary or documentaries about specific events, but I'm pretty sure most people who are familiar with Korean culture, at least Korean pop culture, would have at some point been introduced to their channel and stuff. I'm not gonna lie, when they said they were gonna do this dating show, I didn't know what to think about it. I thought, oh, it could be a recipe for disaster, but at the same time it could be entertaining. So far I've watched both episode 1 and 2, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm not usually the type to do this kind of video because like today I didn't prepare any script or anything. I don't really like spending my time talking about things for that long, but there was a few things that bothered me, so I'm gonna try and organize the way I explain like what I thought was wrong with the show and what made it possibly a disaster. Although there are actually some good things, I feel like from the middle to the end of part 2 or episode 2, the show started to become more entertaining. But I'm gonna start from what I find weird or what I found a little bit wrong with this show. So let's start by talking about the commentating panel, or I don't know, shall I call them host? But the commentator panels, it's also composed of some famous, well, I wouldn't say famous, but some popular YouTubers, or YouTubers that most people would have come across at some point again if you're into K-dramas, Korean culture, things like that. For example, we have Mega Moon, Hattie and Jean. I guess the guy was called Terry, the black guy. I think his channel was Brace Life or something. I think he usually does I see him sometimes on my recommended, but I don't really watch him. I believe he does mainly reaction, K-pop reaction. I don't know why they were chosen, to be honest. Like, I'm not hating on any of them, to be honest. I have nothing against them personally, but I don't think like they're fit to be commentators or hosts of a dating show, because a lot of the comments that they were saying were literally out of pocket. Like, based on how they're doing the show, I thought they were trying to do something more professional, so they were gonna have like proper host. And because with hosts, there's a way you speak, there's certain stuff you learn how to say or not to say, and there's a particular stance where you need to be when you're commentating. For example, I do not expect someone commentating on a dating show professionally to tell me, oh, I like this girl, I would go for her. No one cares if you would go for her. That's not your job. You're just supposed to be like, oh, this is interesting because this is happening, or this could that. No, not here to tell your personal preferences. I feel like that was a recurring theme, unless this show was trying to be like the Google box, and I'm the one who missed how this show was supposed to be, and they are supposed to sell their personal preferences. But a lot of the comments were inappropriate in my opinion. Okay, so like I said, a lot of the comments were out of pocket. And okay, let me start from the beginning, when they introduced themselves. I feel like the introduction was such a mess. It was so lame, it was so unprofessional. I feel like they should have been, I know people like things to be unscripted, but still you should know what to say and how to say it. For example, Mega Moon, and I'm nothing against Mega Moon, I love her. I thought that her content is usually quite interesting. She has 2 beautiful babies and stuff, but like the fact that she randomly mentioned, oh yeah, Mr. Moon, I love you, or yeah, I got 2 beautiful babies, yeah, they're beautiful, you have babies, but I don't think this was the place to say that, or like no one is interested in that. it should have been a quick, hi, my name is Megan Moon, and on a channel called Megan Moon, and I'm excited to, I don't know, see this journey with these contestants or whatever. That's it. I don't think she should have done it. It almost felt like, you know, an older Juma who was given the first opportunity to be on the show. Respectfully, I'm not insulting her or anything or any of the matter. Like, I respect her family and stuff. I was like, but why though? Like, why was that necessary? Hattie as well, girl. As a fellow Brit, there's a lot of times I was like, what are you saying and why? First of all, it bothered me that I think even throughout episode 2 that she had her legs crossed in the couch. I was like, why are you doing that? It's because compared to the others who were sitting with a proper posture, she was just there like too chill for the concept, unless I'm the one who's getting the concept wrong and it's supposed to be like a Google Box type of commentating, because when watching the Google Box I'm expecting some out of pocket comments, because it's basically people just chilling in their living room like I'm doing now and just watching something and telling their opinion. But I thought their role as host was more about, in a way, narrating or analyzing what's going on, the behavior of the contestants without telling their personal preferences. Like Hattie's introductions was all over the place. Gene was out of focus. He didn't even know what was going on. Terry was Terry, but it was kind of mad. I was like, ooh, it's not giving professional. Personally, I don't know what their goal is with this show. Like, I don't know if they're expecting for this show to be like a proper recurring thing, which is gonna have season 2, season 3. I don't know if they expect for TV channels to run it on air on television, because at the moment I don't feel like this is a production that I would like to see on television. I don't think it's up to par in terms of quality of content, organization and such. And another thing I noticed, like, I'm just using an example, I'm not trying to pick on anyone. There was a lot of times with Megan Moon just starting, like, just keeping to the commentators or the host panel for now. There was a lot of times where, like, she seemed a bit spiteful. I don't know, like, I do understand one of the contestants, her name is Tiffany. She basically, I don't know if this is a spoiler. If it's a spoiler, I'm sorry, but she got a lot of votes in the first episode, and obviously she was saying, the contestant did say some out of pocket, like commenting on the fact that Korean men are too white or too pretty or whatever it was, which was like, bro, what do you expect? You're here to date a Korean man, so why are you all of a sudden be like, oh, it's not my style? Then why are you here? But she was a bit too defensive in the, like, Megan. She was like, well, I don't like you now that you're so picky. And I'm like, you're not supposed to say that. It doesn't matter if you don't like her. You're supposed to be neutral. And instead of saying that, you could have said, oh, but given that she's being picking on all these features of Korean men, how do you expect her to? Okay, let's rephrase it. So basically, rather than say, oh, I don't like you now that because you're so picky, she could have just said, oh, I believe that she shouldn't have said that, or I think that's not a good way to approach this, given as she is here to meet Korean men, or that would be like, I don't know, it wouldn't be the purpose of the show. Why is she complaining about features of Korean men when she's here to date a Korean man? She didn't have to add there, I don't like you now. No one cares if you like her or not. It was kind of irritating, because in a way, people, those type of comments is supposed to be us, the viewer, who say it from the comfort of our bed. No one else is supposed to hear that. I'm like, this is a show, it's gonna be in the internet. I'm like, their family members are gonna see this. Like, this is, if for some reason, somehow, this gets televised, you're saying hella out of pocket comments about people while you're supposed to be the professional host. Or at least that's how I felt about it. It was a bit weird. And as well, Hattie as well. There was a lot of time where I was like, what is she saying? Like, there was a point where in the first episode she was like, well, I'm already bored. No one cares if you're already bored. You're not the one listening, or at least you are now, but he wasn't talking to you. It's not about your standard or what you like, it's about the contestant. So why are you telling me like, yeah, this is not my style, I don't like this, or this is boring, or why are you here generalizing, oh, girls would not find that attractive? Girls who? It's just you, one of you. You're married, you've got your career, man. Keep like, okay, fine, you got that. Keep it to yourself. Why are you telling me? Why are you acting like he's supposed to be different? Let him be the way he is. They're there in the show to discover someone who's compatible with them. I felt like it was highly inappropriate, the stuff she did. And in episode 2, there was at one point where she was making like noises. She was like, ugh, making noise as if she was gonna drop. And I was like, yo, she did not just do that. As a host, commentator, I do not expect you to do that. I don't mind if my neighbor's doing that while watching it on the TV. And I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, I think it was during some words. Dan, I think his name is Dan, one of the contestants was talking about him be like an onion, a layer of onion. Like, we know it's cringy, we know what he's trying to say, so I feel like, okay, that was so unnecessary for your part, because, okay, some of us might find it cringy, some people might actually like that. I find it intriguing, of like, oh, there's more layers to this guy. It just felt like, I don't know, all of the comments were highly inappropriate. Oh, let's not even talk about Terry looking at Sabrina like she's a piece of meat, telling her, oh, that's the first person I would have gone to. No, we don't want to know. Like, it's clear, we can tell, everyone who's watching the show knows that Terry is attracted to Sabrina. And I'm not supposed to know that. I'm not supposed to know her. At least not to the detail to which you are showing, being all mad and yeah, or Sabrina this, Sabrina that. You could have seen, oh yeah, I think she's a really nice girl, and oh, I'm a bit disappointed that most people did not choose her. But I don't need to know that you would have chosen her. To the extent, like the way he was, it's just the way he said it, and continuously, it kind of made me a little bit uncomfortable. And I'm not saying that he's weird or anything like that, because once again, I don't know these people, and it could be that they were nervous because it was their first shoot and doing something like this. As far as I know, they've never done something of this manner before, so it could have been that. But it's yeah. Ooh, and if I'm jumping bro, I'm all over the place, but jumping back to Mega Moon, there was a lot of time she was acting like just because she's married to a Korean man and now she has the Korean citizenship, she knew everything about Korea. And in my opinion, if you're not born in a specific country and were not raised there, regardless of however long you've been there, you cannot say that you know everything. She was acting kind of like, I don't know, superior, saying, oh yeah, but that's how Korean guys are, that's how Korean guys are. And in a way, it felt like she was agreeing with certain stereotypes, because at the end of the day, sure, there might be a genetic trait that Korean men have, but not everyone, and you don't necessarily expect the first person Korean man you meet to actually fit into the stereotype. If it happens, it happens. But the fact that she had to keep doing it so smugly as if, yeah, well, yeah, he's a Korean man, I knew that, and stop. It was a bit like, why? Like, I don't know, it's just the vibe she was giving. It was a bit weird, I'm not gonna lie. It wasn't, it was it's a bit weird. Ooh, another comment that kind of put me off was when she mentioned what's her name? The white girl? I don't know if she's from Texas or something, the American girl, blonde. Why would she say that Noah's gonna choose her? How do you know Noah's gonna choose her? Sure, I'm not gonna lie, some of us might have taught that from, again, taught her from home while watching the show, but I don't feel like as a commentator you have to say that Noah's gonna choose her because she's like a hippie. What does that mean? What's wrong with hippie? What's wrong with her having the looks that she has, talking about she's gonna get swiped? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if I'm making any sense at all, but stuff like that, every time they said stuff, I was shocked. I was like, what are these people on about? Why are you in a position where I'm hearing your personal preferences? This is not what I'm here for. Like, I maybe it's just me being picky. it doesn't seem professional at all. I was expecting some high quality, and I don't know if it's because of budget and stuff, but at this point, it's only 2 episodes, but I feel like if they do somehow get into having a season 2, they probably should not have these people as panelists. And I get the reason why they did it is because these are all YouTubers which have a big following actually, and like I said, they can bring more traction, more viewers, giving us people who know about Korean music, Korean TV shows, or anything related to Korea would have kind of come in touch with them. And not to be like, how do I say this? Not to appear like I'm trying to say they should have done it differently, given as it's a Korean show. But like there was I don't know if it was episode 2, but there was Ramyun also mentioned, she mentioned the D word basically. She was like this, and I was like, why are you saying that? Like, if this is supposed to be an actual show, if you're doing it just like a TV show, why are you saying certain inappropriate words? I know you're trying to be like, oh yeah, because we're foreigners, we're foreign reactors, we're more open about these things, but most televised shows, most like dating shows and stuff like that, you don't see the actual commentating panel using those kind of words. You might see the contestants using those words, which is fine because you're filming them while they're trying to be genuine, they're trying to find love and stuff like that. But I don't expect a commentator to say certain stuff like that. Once again, Hattie also was like, again, she kept saying, oh yeah, he's not my style and stuff. I was like, yo, that's mad weird. You're not supposed to say that. Oh, there was, I think in episode 2, I can't remember the instance, but I clearly remember Hattie saying, oh, it's turning me off. And I'm like, okay, and no one's supposed to know it's turning you off. We don't care if it's turning you off. Why is it turning you off? Your husband is just next to you. What are you on about? It's not about you. You're not the one trying to date. You know what I mean? It felt like they were putting themselves too much in the shoes of the contestant. Apart from Terry wanting to be one, apparently, with the way he was salivating out over Sabrina. It was like, yo, girl, don't do that, please. Like, it's a bit mad out there. Like, no, don't do that. It was a bit, so weird. And I feel like there were some instances where she was disrespectful. Like, once again, when she was talking about the board, I think I can't remember the guy's name, but it's the one who's into AI and stuff. He was explaining basically what he does, what he's studying and stuff. And just because you don't have the ability to understand or appreciate more complex thoughts or more complex topic doesn't mean that someone else doesn't. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean that that's necessarily boring. It might be boring for you, but someone else might like it. I just felt like her generalizing and saying stuff that was her personal opinion as if that's something that everyone would think was a bit weird. And I don't know, it's been almost 20 minutes since I've been going about the panelists, the commentator panelists. And like, to be honest, there's even more stuff I noticed that was really weird, but I don't want to spend too much. I'm going to spend a whole hour just talking about that. But I feel like a lot of the way they're presenting themselves, and I don't mean by dressing or stuff, the way they're carrying themselves, portraying themselves, the way they're speaking, what they're saying, their opinion, it's so unprofessional, and I feel like it's not giving us, the viewers, a good light to the show, because a lot of the time I could have enjoyed just watching the show, but because of these little comments, it kind of made me skeptical. It kind of made me to want to turn it off in a way, because I was like, how can she just say that? How is she not thinking right now and just saying stuff that's really inappropriate, in my opinion? And by inappropriate, I don't necessarily mean vulgar words. Yeah, there was a couple of times, but it's just, you know what I mean? You need to have certain morals. You should know what to say and what not to say, especially when you're paid to be there and act like a professional. Unless I'm the one who's wrong and this is supposed to be like the Google box. If this was it, then oh, my bad. I didn't understand the concept of this dating show or this commentating panel. But yeah, moving on to the contestants. As you can tell, this only been 2 episodes, so I don't remember all of the names. But I don't want to say too much about them, giving us it's just been 2 episodes, but and in a way drama is part of a series of the dating series. Some of them were a little bit cringe, yes, but I don't think that any of them is there for like bad reasons and stuff. Oh yeah, one thing I had to say is like, it might be the editing, or it might have been just like because it was day one, but it kind of felt like both the commentators and a lot of the contestants were kind of bullying the guy from the States. I think it was Dan. Yeah, I felt bad for him, and I do get like, okay, he was acting a bit too, shall I say, cocky. I think he was just trying to be cool, but I don't think he came from a place where he thought he's better than everyone. The way I interpreted the way he was acting is the fact that, okay, he's fluent in English, but in English and Korean, so that kind of puts him at an advantage regardless of the skills of the girls, because he would be able to communicate. So he must have thought, oh, this is an advantage for me, and he's told him, I thought, oh, actually I'm not a bad looking guy and stuff. But I don't think he was necessarily trying to like act as if he was better than all the other male contestants. But obviously everyone read it a bit weird, and they were a bit taken aback, which is still completely understandable, fine. But I think it was towards the end of episode 1, I didn't really like how they kept mentioning him when he wasn't there, in a way kind of like mocking him. I felt like that was just straight up bullying, but then it might be just me being too sensitive. Like, I don't have any preference so far about any of the contestants. I just thought, oh, that's a bit mean. And as well as in episode 1 at least, the commentator panelists also seemed to be bullying him. They didn't seem to like him very much either, which was a bit weird. And yeah, Tiffany, the girl who I mentioned, she was talking about, oh, he's too white or whatever. That was a bit weird. I was like, why are you here then? Like, basically, I feel like most of these people, they're here for a reason. You don't just randomly go on a show dating Korean men if you don't know anything about the culture. Of course, yeah, we can argue about all the beauty standards of Korea and stuff. I feel like that's another conversation for another day, what's wrong and that. But obviously, because you're exposed to it, you know how they think, what they prefer and stuff. You should know. I feel like you shouldn't act like, oh, that's weird, when you already know. Why are you here if that's not what you're looking for? If you know what I mean. Like, I was like, and the fact that she was also kind of interested in him, but at the same time criticizing, oh, I don't know, he's too white. It felt a bit weird. I was like, well, it did not make sense to me. But then again, maybe I'm the one who's not processing the show properly or something. But oh yeah, speaking about culture, I felt like there was a part where Megan Moon mentioned, oh yeah, Bella's trying not to appear like a Korea boo, and I think I got that vibe at the same time. Like, the girls were trying not to show like they knew too much, because they didn't want to be perceived as, oh yeah, people obsessed with Korean culture and such. But at the same time, it felt hella weird. Like, you're the first person who came telling, oh my gosh, did you know that the BTS soup was shot here and stuff? If you know BTS, I'm pretty sure you know 17. And I'm not judging, okay, I'm kind of judging Bella, but it just felt weird. I'm like, why are you out here lying and acting, oh, allegedly, because she might have been honest, and I might be the one who actually thinks she knows, but she might not know. But I thought, like, it's a bit weird if you know so much about the fact that, because you could know BTS, but you wouldn't know what BTS soup is. You wouldn't know where the shot is unless you've researched and stuff. And along the way, getting into BTS, you would have seen some other groups. You might not know them like one by one, know the specifics of stuff. But like, for example, there are so many groups like that I'm not into personally, but I've heard about a couple of songs and stuff. I've heard the name of, like, mostly the minor groups, like from small companies and stuff. But like, I'm aware, for example, I don't really listen to Dripping, but I know Dripping. I know Omega X is another small group, although they're the whole scandal thing recently, so that's how kind of more people know them. But you know, like there are certain stuff that you're supposed to know. So it felt weird how it felt like she was lying when she was like, "Oh, what's 17?" I was like, bro, that's the question you ask when you first got into K-pop. And I'm like, if you know BTS, you know a little bit about K-pop, at least certain. Not like a deep dive and stuff, but I think, like, come on, out of all the groups at the moment for generation group on the top, 17 is one of them, and at some point you would have heard them or heard about them. So like, especially considering variety shows, if you've heard about the Soup show, then I'm pretty sure you've heard about Going 17. You know what I mean? But then again, that's me maybe being too picky and thinking that she knows but she doesn't know. But yeah, a lot of stuff they were saying, I was like, if you don't know it, why are you into Korean men? Like, how do I say it? It felt a bit like hypocritical, because I'm like, surely if you're interested in Korean men, you should know some basis about Korea, including entertainment and shows and, you know, music. At least like the least level. And I feel like, I don't know because I didn't really search, but I believe some of them are, even if it's temporary, they live in Korea and stuff, so they would have been exposed to certain stuff, but acting like it was their first time ever in Korea was a bit mad, to be honest. It's given as some of them can speak a little bit of Korean too. So yeah. Another point I wanted to mention, like I said, this is kind of a mess. I didn't really organize my thoughts on what I wanted to say, but I just thought, yeah, I'm a rant about it in camera, and if people relate. If I'm the one wrong, I'm wrong, whatever. But like the way I kept mentioning about being professional, the commentators and stuff, this show has a lot of loophole. It could be just my preference thing, but I really did not understand why they chose in episode 1 to make the boys choose the girls the way they did. I felt like that made things more awkward for the contestants. The fact they had to stand behind them and they had to see immediately who chose them and not. I thought it wouldn't have been more engaging and more entertaining for, like, okay, they've just introduced themselves, you take the boys to another side, you make them do a ballot or write down, oh, which of the girls would you choose? First impression, you have it, put it down, and then after, I think it was a lunch or whatever they had, after that it was the girls' turn to say who did they like. They could have been like, oh, same, the girls write down the names, and then obviously the people who chose each other, you could have matched them and made them go on a date without necessarily them seeing, because I felt like a little bit some of their impression from the girls were a little bit biased because, oh, they did not choose me. You know what I mean? I feel like they shouldn't have known who chose who from the beginning. I don't know if I'm making sense, but I think you guys will try to understand what I'm saying. I feel like that was a bit weird, and that made everything awkward for everyone. Like, they were like, oh, okay. Yeah, it's... Yeah, it was hella weird. And why did they put the guys on the other side with no bathroom? But then again, it could have been a budget thing. Like, I was like, oh, there's no facilities. There's no better places where both girls and boys could have like same rooms and same toilets and stuff. Not same in sense sharing, but like it kind of felt sad that the boys were outside and that their rooms had no toilet. I was like, ooh, basic human needs. But then again, I might be the one being picky and stuff. But like I said at the beginning, I think towards the middle of episode 2 and the end of episode 2, things started to get more interesting. That's actually the only time, I feel like that was the only bit where halfway through that started kind of enjoying it. And I think that's mainly because, I guess the contestants were getting more comfortable with each other. And so things were flowing more naturally and stuff. But I feel like, based on the fact that I enjoyed the footage of the contestants towards the middle and then of episode 2, I almost feel like the panelist is not required. for the show. I don't know if it's weird. You know what I mean? I feel like they should just show us the footage of what's going on, and maybe like, oh, whenever they have to make choices and stuff, they can have like just one person voiceover telling us, oh, these are the rules, and write it down below and stuff, and just show us. I feel like that's more a better viewer experience, because I don't know. Hopefully they change. Hopefully it gets better. I really don't need to hear Hadi telling me about what she likes or what turns her on or stuff, or Mega Moon picking about one girl because she feels like she needs to defend every Korean guy, or Terry, I don't know, salivating over a girl because it's his style. I really don't need that. Like I could skip that. But yeah, I think I'm just gonna leave it at this, because to be honest, I could have made my points more clear and organized it, but it's not really my style. So I hope I made sense somewhat. But yeah, so that's what I thought about the show. Will I still be watching it? Yeah, because I'm the curious type and I want to see if it's gonna go downhill, if it's gonna get better or get worse, and not just in the terms of the contestants and their relationship, but also at this point I'm there to see. I don't want to see, but I guess I have to see what the commentators are gonna say next and how they're gonna act. Hopefully they get this shit together, to be honest. But yeah, and once again, I'm not hating on anyone. I literally have I don't know these people, so I have nothing against them. Like, they're just trying to get the bag and stuff, but I just felt like, given as you're getting paid, or I'm assuming they're getting paid, most likely they're getting paid, they're YouTubers, it's a job, like, well, for them, because they actually have like a big following and stuff, but like, I felt like the standard for the commentating panel, that was my main issue about the show. Some choices on the way they were structuring the dating show as well was a bit iffy, like as I mentioned earlier, the way they're choosing stuff and that. But then again, that could be improved in season 2 if they do end up having a season 2. Yeah, that's all. I'm gonna leave it at this for now. But yeah, let me know if for some reason you enjoyed this video and you want me to say a bit more or tell my opinion on each episode that's about to come. Just let me know in the comments. If you have another dating show that you'd like me to check out, also leave it in the comment and I'll check it out. To be honest, the only dating show, Korean dating show that I've ever watched was Change Days season 2, and I actually enjoyed that. It was kind of mad, not gonna lie. But yeah, so this is basically my second Korean dating show I'm watching. So yeah, that's it for me. If you enjoyed this video, then consider subscribing to the channel, liking this video, sharing, and once again, if you have any recommendation, please leave them in the comments down below. And if you want to speak to me, send me any messages and stuff. All of my social media is at @mekikoviolet, and yeah, I'll see you in the next video, whatever that might be. Bye.